certainly live in a weird point in time. We had the big Xbox showcase. Oddly, people loving what Xbox did. I thought that they did an incredible job with the showcase myself, but obviously they sort of did a turnabout when Phil Spencer talks about putting games on other platforms. They're very cagey with their explanation of PlayStation games and things like that. So we'll see what happens. Anything at this particular point can happen. And for me personally, when I look at sort of where Microsoft is right now, it's a little bit of a questionable spot. But I also think that Microsoft has some things going for it. Obviously, it didn't hurt that PlayStation decided to put their Horizon Forbidden whatever West Lego game on the Switch. It's such a weird time. I think that takes some of the heat off of what is actually happening with Microsoft. So, we do have that to kind of look at and say, okay, well, maybe things aren't the way that we think. Maybe things are changing a little bit. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, Sony did have a bit of a response that I thought was very interesting for a number of reasons. Or, maybe it's not current Sony, but close enough in my opinion. Yeah, this was interesting because ex-PlayStation boss Shawn Layden sort of responded to Phil Spencer's shots at Sony. Phil Spencer recently took aim at Sony over its PlayStation content exclusive deals, which has drawn the attention of former PlayStation executive Shawn Layden. Spencer, while talking about Call of Duty, referred to past content deals with the franchise as some slimy platform things, quote unquote. He's obviously was irked by PlayStation exclusive deals. This is what I'll say about that. He's like, because if you watch the showcase on Sunday, Phil Spencer says things like, oh, for the first time we have Call of Duty at our showcase in 10 years. Like, Phil Spencer has been head of Xbox for 10 years. Couldn't he have got some kind of deal for Call of Duty? They used to have a deal, which I'll get back to that in a second. Somebody on Twitter says, Phil Spencer calls PlayStation slimy for paying publishers for exclusive content. I want to give you the choice on how to play your games and who you play with, and to try not to do slimy platform things to force you to do what I want you to do. Shawn Layden put out some interesting things. Some GIFs, some memes, if you will. Layden was seen interacting with quite a few tweets as well that were either critical of Phil Spencer comments or seem amused by Layden's responses. Many have argued that Spencer was making a general reference to platform exclusive deals, but he was specifically talking in context to Call of Duty's 10 years of content arrangements with PlayStation. Although Spencer has been a huge advocate for dropping exclusives, Microsoft continues to engage in exclusivity wars, so his comments are a little baffling. Even if we ignore the Xbox 360 era, Rise of the Tomb Raider was famously taken off the PS4 for a whole year while Spencer was in charge. Games like Starfield and Redfall were in development for PlayStation 5 when Spencer led the Xbox bought ZeniMax and pulled them off Sony's platform, and so on and so forth. So what I will say about that real quick, though, is they originally bought ZeniMax, according to them anyway, the official FTC stuff. They bought ZeniMax strictly because Sony was trying to lock down the Starfield game as a exclusive for PlayStation 5. So that's supposedly why he did that. Kind of is what it is. But it's been really kind of funny anyway, what has happened. So he's not really holding back his feelings at all. And if you want to get kind of technical about it, Phil Spencer was with Xbox. I think he was the head of Xbox Studios when Microsoft was running exclusive deals for Call of Duty. Right, like, do we forget that so quickly? And I don't think that those deals were slimy. You do what you can to sell your platform to people. So Xbox used to get Call of Duty map packs a month early, and I can remember being in Walmart before and in the game section looking at games and stuff. And I mean, this was a long time ago, over a decade ago, and there were kids there like, oh, well, which version should we get? PlayStation 3 or 360? And they're like, well, let's get the 360 version because they get the maps first, right? Like, so people do respond to that kind of stuff, obviously. I don't necessarily think it's slimy, just because Phil Spencer thinks that it is. I think that realistically, they did it too, and now they try to do this holier than thou stuff. I think it's silly to do that. So it's kind of funny to me anyway, that he's trying to criticize it or whatever, because at the end of the day, Layden has actually kind of fired back a little bit to like a number of comments on social media suggesting that Spencer is being a hypocrite. Somebody said that Phil is talking out of his ass, so slimy, like buying billion-dollar publishers to try and take more control of the industry. Another one says, so much hate. Layden, who left PlayStation in 2019, became a firm favorite and a fan favorite during the PS4 era due to his down-to-earth interview style and direct connection with fans. He became particularly popular during Sony's PSX community events, where he'd regularly rock up in gaming t-shirts and pose for photographs of players in an era where Sony is perceived to feel distant and out of touch with the community. Like now, his no-nonsense attitude is clearly missed. So, it is what it is. I think that, obviously Phil taking shots at somebody is very much hypocritical. And I think that, it's one of those things that, you just kind of, I guess, shake your head a little bit about. I think Phil Spencer, at the end of the day, also is like, he talks out of his ass all the time. Like, how can anybody not know, like, if you're in gaming, how can you not know that Phil Spencer talks out of his ass? So, that shouldn't really come as much of a surprise. Phil Spencer just literally talks out of his ass nonstop. He's lied multiple times, and I'm sure like every executive lies, but what's interesting to me is that Phil's lies are very much on record pretty much everywhere. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just thought this was interesting to kind of hit back or whatever. Microsoft went out there and bought some studios and things and kind of doing their own thing or whatever. At the end of the day, it is what it is, and I feel like Sony's going to continue doing their thing, and Microsoft's going to do their thing, whatever the hell that is, and then probably change that 3 more times before in the next year, because that's what they do. It's a little bit unfortunate as a fan that we kind of have to put up with the brunt of this stuff, but at the end of the day, we get to play games on these platforms, and I think that that's probably what we should mostly focus on, in my opinion anyway. It's like, it's easy to get pissed off, and it's easy to kind of look at this stuff and go, oh man, they really screwed us over here, or they really lied to us here. Yep, that's corporations for you, so at the end of the day, we're gamers and we play games, and I guess as long as we could do that, we should just have fun, So, there's always going to be something out there, in my opinion, that's going to tick us off. But what do you guys think about this? I will link this in the description. You guys can check it out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.